I'd like to call to order the Ways and Means Committee meeting for November 2nd, 2021, and it is 4:07 p.m. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Here.
Commissioner Hughes,
Here.
Commissioner Laring,
Here.
Commissioner Nash,
Here.
Commissioner Pego,
Here.
Chairman Skolnick, here, Commissioner Wilkins,
Here.
Commissioner Seer.
Here. I would like approval of the minutes of October 19th, 2021.
So moved. Support.
A motion and support. All in favor? Any questions, concerns about that? All good? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Public comment on an agenda item. Is there any public comment on any agenda item?
Nothing online.
Anything? Hearing none. Items for consideration. First item is WM 21/11-117 to approve payment of the accounts payable of $12,574,313.04, covering the period of October 8th, 2021 through October 22nd, 2021 for checks and P cards and EFT payments for the period covering September 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2021, as presented by the county clerk.
So moved. Support.
I have a motion and support. Questions, comments, or concerns on this item?
Just one question.
Yes.
You used to get the breakdown of like large items. We stopped doing that.
We're doing large items over 100,000 on page
Yeah, we
8.
have it.
We don't have any.
It's in there.
Page 8.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing.
The top one is 930,000 for the channel crossing.
You're referring to?
Yes. Yes.
Any questions? Other questions? Okay, seeing none, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
No.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes. That item passes. The next item, WM 21/11-118, to approve the telework policy on a one-year pilot program basis.
So moved. Support.
I have a motion and support. Questions, concerns?
Have a,
Yes.
I'd like to know exactly what that is.
Kristen Wade, please, to the podium.
Good afternoon, Kristen Wade, Human Resources Director. So the telework policy would provide a overarching policy that departments may or may not choose to participate with. It works in some instances. It doesn't make sense in every situation, but this would provide a county policy for departments who choose to participate with telework that then would set out the expectations, requirements for both the employee and the supervisor.
So is this basically work from home?
Correct, yes.
Why don't you just call it work from home?
Sorry.
I agree.
Well, some of them might work from other than their home. I mean, they worked out in the field as well. They're off the office as possible.
Or vacations.
Commissioner Nash?
I just wanted to add that, I was kind of pleasantly surprised to see this come along because I think this is some of the reason why we're having so much trouble in the current time that we're in, because there's a lot of people that kind of got used to working at home and now they're seeing the benefits of how it works out for them. But I also like the idea of having our directors and leadership in charge of this because they know their departments better than we do. And it's not for us to sit and micromanage, but it's an advantage for, our workers. It's an advantage for the directors. It can bring about a little bit more satisfaction with work and longevity. Some organizations may not be doing this, but it gives us an advantage and stability to keep workers and to keep workers happy and help families continue to grow together too. And maybe alleviate some of that family care things that we need.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yeah, I agree with Charles Nash. I think this is a really good idea. My concern is that I would want this to be the director's decision and they know, but I would also like to have this referred back to IT so that they can tell us if there is a way we can keep track of who's working and who's not working. I know my niece works for Spectrum Health, and she does the billing for the hospital at home, and they've been have really good luck, except sometimes they find that people aren't actually working. And they have a program where during the day, they can look and see what she's got on her computer at any time. So she better not have Facebook up when she's supposed to be working. And I think if we're gonna if we're gonna ask the people to pay the wages of people that are working at home, we need to know they're working at home, just like we would walk by their desk and say, yep, they're working. So I'd
Mr.
like
Hughes,
to,
if I may, Sandra Van has been working with IT on this already, and if you don't mind, she can explain how they're currently doing it.
We agree with you for sure. And staff, they have indicated that they want this. So that's what we've said is, okay, then we're going to have strict performance measurements in place so we can know what you're doing when you're at home and you have to meet these performance measurements and that we can audit anything. And IT has helped us do this already several times. We can audit when they log into their computer. We have several different other core systems that we use, and we can see each of those systems when they log in. So IT can run us a report that has all this in detail, and it can show how much time they spend on each website. So they even actually would do that for us before we started doing the work from home policy, if we had people even in the office, because some people could be unproductive in the office as well. So we used to have them run those reports for us then too, but they have, and if we request a report, they get it back to us within 24 hours. But once we, set those expectations, staff has really, they know that if we find out you're not being productive at home, we're going to take the privilege away.
I'd like to see the IT department give us some information on how that's possible and what we can do. I think before we start, I think we just owe it to the people, make sure that the people are working. So could I make a motion that we postpone this till we hear from the IT director or somebody in IT that's involved with this and then bring it back? I don't,
Is that a motion?
it's a motion, yes.
Second.
We may be able to bring it back in a week. I mean,
Well.
but if we could postpone it.
Okay, does that, are we done with discussion then? If
Yes.
This is what we,
There's a motion. on the
You've got a
floor, but
subsidiary
we've gotta-
motion.
We've got a, is there discussion?
Yes.
Yes. So I think that we can get that information in time. I think that this is something that's such a need. I don't want to see us cast a negative spell on it. And I don't, I love our team because exactly what you're talking about, they're already way ahead of us on those things. So that's why I say, I don't think, our job is to make policies and take care of the financial benefits of the county and let our directors and administrators and different people that are leading do their job. And they do a great job at doing it. And I think that, we can get sometimes in the way. But I think that this is a good plan, and I've heard a lot about it, that, it can be regulated. It's just like, we had the same issues with both positions where I've been at, where you can track a lot of things. And it's a lot better than it used to be until, right now, he's out of order, isn't he?
No, I think
I was making a comment.
there's a
I
motion and
usually this to
support.
be debate on the motion to postpone, is it not?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's not a motion to table, which wouldn't have the debate.
No,
I
I
understand it's
just-
a motion to postpone until,
Till we hear back from him or
Until you
somebody
receive
from
So we can have
IT,
discussion on it.
so that we
That's
can
correct.
discuss it. a little
Commissioner
more.
Brown?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment here, and thanks, Kristen. It does state that it's a pilot program. Having privilege to be Commissioner Sears Vice Chair, be in the motion review. Some of the questions that are coming up from everyone here that we brought those same questions up. And I know it was a concern of Kristen that the directors, how they're going to monitor it and so on. So I do agree with Mr. Nash that, we have to not micromanage some of these things. We have to let our directors take care of those. So thank you.
Commissioner Laring, please.
If we're going to debate the motion to postpone, please make the arguments relevant to postponement of this motion.
Chair Swilling, please.
No, I don't see any reason to postpone this. There's absolutely no doubt the software is available. It's just a matter of figuring out what software we're going to use. I just wanted to, I see no reason to postpone it. I have personal experience with family members working from home for years for companies much bigger than the county, and they've done it from day one when they started working there. It works well if you can manage it like this and see what they're doing.
Yes.
Commissioner
That,
Hughes,
I
please.
agree with Commissioner Scully, but all I would like to know is that IT is capable of installing that for us and that they know how to manage it and that the people will understand that they will be under scrutiny from there too. So I'd like to know what's available to us and if we are able to get that up and running. And is a year a long time to go with this before we know? I mean, you're asking to do it for a year. And is it gonna take us 3 months to get this installed? So before we can do it, or how, so I'd just like to make sure that we know all the answers before we vote for this. That's why I'd like to just postpone it. If the IT director can come back and answer all of the questions next week, I'm happy to put it right back on and go with it. I just want to know more information.
I think we need to postpone it, just because I don't know if I have enough information. When we originally opened this discussion, we talked about the whole situation working at home. I mean, if you are just keeping track of somebody who's turned their computer on, they can turn their computer on and go play in the yard with the kids. I mean, that there has to be something more as far as the metrics go, that we can keep an eye on what's going on. And some of the directors, I mean, maybe for Vanderheim, maybe for your area, that worked great, but I don't know that it's gonna for all the directors. So I would like to have a little more discussion on it myself. Commissioner Hobby Wright, please.
Can I ask Kristen Wade, can you come to the podium? Will postponing this have a detrimental effect on implementation?
Kristen Wade, Human Resources Director. Well, the motion indicates a year pilot until, November of next year. So obviously, the longer we postpone that, if then we're still looking at a November end date, it's going to shrink that. I don't disagree that I think we could get IT's input in a short amount of time. It just
But
depends.
do we have to wait for the next Ways and Means Committee?
I've got no problem putting it on the next meeting if we get.
So that'll be a month away.
If we can.
Mr. Phillips is on his way over. He was going to be here, but because of the elections,
Oh, okay.
he was called away. So he's on his way over.
Okay.
To sub at the end of this meeting.
Okay.
So there's another question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner.
So
Payne, go
that's
ahead.
another question. Is it going to require more attention from IT staff? Will we need additional staff for the oversight? I mean, there's a lot of more. I mean, I even got pulled away for something else, so he's not here. So, I mean, to babysit one
Well,
more
it is
thing.
election.
Wouldn't it be?
Well, I know, I'm just saying, I'm not in favor of it anyway, but
Would the directors be monitoring?
I would think it would be up to the directors.
Right.
And a lot of them already know whether let's face it, what your people, their people have been there a long time, so I'm thinking they probably have a fairly good idea. I mean, taking Sander, for example, if you work on 8 cases a day and you've been at home for 3 months and you're still working on 8 cases a day,
Right.
chances are you're doing fine.
So
But if now you're only doing 3,
those are the kind of things that we have to.
that we have to be able to look at. And
Look at.
And, I'm just saying, occasionally I can tell my nieces on Facebook, there's that little green dot next to her name and she's supposed to be online working. So, I'm just saying. You gotta kind of look at the different things that can happen.
yeah.
Any other questions on this, on the postponement? Okay, well,
Mr. Chair, is Ivan on his way over here?
Correct.
I don't even care if we move this to.
I need more information than just.
But I would like to be able to see what we have available and if that is gonna help us.
Go ahead.
I'd like to vote on the postponement.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
No.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes,
Chairman Skolnick,
No.
Commissioner Wilkins,
No.
Commissioner Brown,
No.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
No.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
4 yes, 5 no.
No postponement,
Mr.
so
Chair.
where are we?
We're back to the original motion.
Yeah.
It was. Which
Can I make a
motion?
comment?
Yes,
To
Commissioner
approve the
Nash,
total.
please.
I think that the information that you guys are looking for is easily, all we have to do is make a phone call. You can make them personally. Ivan can get that information to you. That's why I say I don't see any reason to delay all of this. I mean, it's been on our agenda for over a week. We could have made these calls before the meeting to get this stuff figured out, but Ivan's walking in the door now, so we can ask those questions and move along.
There we go.
I don't see any reason.
He ran. He's panting.
Commissioner Seer, Mr. Phillips is in the room, in the house.
Commissioner Seer, Mr. Chair, point of order. Commissioner Larry had.
Yes, Commissioner Larry, go ahead, please.
So I've talked to administration about this. This has been something they've been talking about for a while. We're looking at buying a brand new building to house the administration in. And if we're looking at a new building for new offices, and we're talking about letting people work from home, corporations all over the United States have just called all their employees back that have been working at home for the last year and a half because they noticed significant reduction in production within these corporations. The technology does exist to do a lot of this monitoring. They can monitor keystrokes. They can get right down to the login time and they can monitor your keystrokes. It's not about the technology. It's about the distractions that can happen from home. I know it's beneficial. A lot of moms would like to stay home and eliminate some of the daycare expenses that they have, but productivity does drop. It's a proven fact. Corporations all over the United States have recognized this. And if we're looking at a brand new building, which is, if we're going to have people working from home, it becomes questionable whether we need to move administration to another building. I am opposed to this item, even if we can monitor it, which we can, but it's going to require, if somebody's watching your keystrokes on the computer, that takes a body to do that. And it's going to require more time to monitor these people. There's goofing off maybe goes on here with the county employees, but their supervisors see it if they spend too much time in the lunchroom or goofing off, or they don't come in on time. But you can't really recognize that. People can be logged in and they find ways to, I'm not saying that we've got our employees are cheaters, but there are ways to cheat the system. Even electronically, if they're monitoring keystrokes, you can still find a way to goof around, watch the kids. And it also isn't beneficial. This is only benefiting a certain, it doesn't benefit all of the employees. There's a significant part of this county that can't work from home just because there's no internet in a lot of these locations. And a lot of our county doesn't have great cell signal. So then we're going to have losses of productivity because they're using a Wi-Fi or a MiFi box and it loses connectivity. Then the employee's going to have to go to the coffee shop just to log in. It's benefits some, maybe some people that have an office at home and can work at home and have full internet, but then who pays for that internet? What about employees that don't? Maybe they do have the service in front of their house, but they don't want to have it hooked up, but they want the benefit from working at home. Who pays for their internet usage? What if they're using a MiFi and they go over their data stream to work from home? This has a lot of implications, and just the fact that corporations around the world have noticed that working from home loses productivity in distractions with the people that are working from home. So I'm opposed to this motion.
Where did you get that information from about lower productivity, Mr. Larry?
From corporations that are bringing their employees back to work. It's all over the media.
Which media?
Well, Fox News has talked about it numerous times.
Never mind.
But I can also tell you a corporation I know that's done it is JP Morgan Chase, one of the largest banking institutions that these people just, it's all paperless, and they have called back all their employees to work in the office. So.
Commissioner Nash, please.
Mr. Chair, I just, I hear what Mr. Larry is saying, but I think we're in a time where there is becoming more work from home jobs than people realize. And that's what this is going to. And I think that's why I'm saying that it's a benefit to us to keep up with the times. And that's why you're having a lot of job opportunities not getting filled, because some people have gotten used to working from home or having that benefit of having that flexibility. And now they're refusing to take certain positions because it's taking them out of that. So no, does it work for everybody? Does it work for every position? No. But it is working. And that's why I think it's good to leave all this in the hands of our administrators and directors so that they can deal with each employee, each position, and run their offices like they feel that they need to be run. And we just, need to be a little bit more trusting and optimistic, because I like to think of our workers as some of the best community workers in the county and in the state. But if we look at it in a negative light, how does that feel to our employees too? When they're always looked at in a negative, we just have to be a little bit more optimistic. And this is a trial basis. It's for 1 year. We can reassess and see how it's going.
Commissioner Hughes, please.
Director Phillips, we threw your name around because I'm interested. I don't have a problem with this program. I think it's a great program, but I just want to make sure that there's some accountability available for the directors and for the taxpayers that we're paying employees to work from home. And I wanted to ask you is there stuff out there that we can track and make sure that the employees actually are working if they do this from home?
Yes, Ivan Phillips, IT Director, Stephen County. There is programs out there that monitor what people are doing from home. Before COVID, those programs have run you $2 per employee per month. After COVID, those programs are now running $12 per employee per month to monitor what they do from home. It automatically generates reports, software that will actually tell them, hey, why are you on Facebook? I'm supposed to be working. It actually monitors that. It's pretty neat software. COVID drove it, of course.
Is that something that will be available to the county
Per month.
do that? Would that go on different employees' computers at home?
Actually, we're in a virtual environment, so the software actually resides here at the county. Monitoring as they remote in, we'll monitor their desktops as they're remote in.
Would they have to be, so they would have to log into our county network for that to work, correct?
That's correct. They're remoting into our county network.
And would all the employees that are, Kristen, I guess this would be for you, then would all the employees that are going to be working from home be logged into our network? Would that be a requirement?
Yes, it would be. Yes, they would have to, in order to access their desktop, would have to be logged in through our network.
Okay.
Right.
Kristen, we had some discussion about this, and if you come up with any, I was looking for metrics of some sort that you could monitor your HR employees who may be working at home, that would give you some idea if they're productive or not just whether they're online or have you worked on that? Have you come up with anything? I'm curious.
Yeah, appreciate the question. And certainly it's going to be individual to each department. Sandra Vanderhaar, Donna Vandervries, they both, would have their statistics. From my standpoint, from a human resources, it's going to vary by employee. I have 3 individuals that screen applications.
Okay.
I can see how many applications they're screening, if the recruitment is done in a timely fashion, those types of things. So definitely payroll, this payroll being processed, everything is so timely. And so, yes, we would have those.
See, those are the kind of things I'm looking for. Now, you say that you can do that from your department. What about the other departments?
Yeah, there's 2 individuals here who like to hear from them.
Donna Vandervries, Muskegon County Equalization Director. We worked from home like everybody else did through COVID. We got perfect scores on 13 audits by the state through this. Part of the thing with my department, people are required to be out in the field doing stuff, and they have a number of parcels they're expected to hit every year. And with the field work, we're not tracking them anyway. I'm not following them around in the car. We don't have that many county cars. The other thing is we have assessing units with contractual obligations we have to be at periodically. So we're not tracking everybody all the time. Granted, they log in on those days, but if I expect my people to be out all the time doing field work, plus we can monitor, there's an audit trail. And I look at that to see how many parcels they hit each month. I get a report, inspections by month by employee. And I know what they're doing, or somebody might be working on something else. Like we had somebody do an appraisal for somebody here because one of my staff is a certified general appraiser. We know what people are doing. and we
Okay,
look
so
into
you
it.
can see what is going on.
Yes, I can
so
see
you
what's
can
going on.
monitor. See, that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. I'm not opposed at all to work at home. I'm just saying that it needs to be at a point where there's some accountability there, because some people, just some people, probably very few might take advantage of that. So
Commissioner Seer.
Commissioner Pago was next, I believe.
How many employees do you have lined up to do this?
This would just be a policy that would give departments the ability to do it, so I don't know how many individual departments. I know from my position, my department, I have 12 staff. Nobody would do it 100% of the time. They might pick 1 or 2 days a week. But yeah, it would not be 100% of the time.
Well, I can help answer that question, because we asked that at the director's level, and the prosecutor, for example, would not. These people would be here at in the courtrooms, which leads to the public defender's office as well. Patrick Finnegan in the back here, district court, most of those, if not all, are here in the building. So the ones who are probably participating are in this room. Ivan Phillips, that has a few staff, Sandra, Donna, Kristen, and Angela. So they are all here to help facilitate this conversation. But yes, all departments would not participate.
I'd like more details on who the prospectus of employees that the program would.
Yeah, and that's what I would do. If you approve this program, I would ask for reports from each one, and we would know who's participating.
No,
Yeah, we
I'm
can
not
share that
asking after the fact.
information.
I'm asking ahead of time. Which employees fit this, who's looking to.
Which
to go
department
into
heads?
that? Yeah, so, no, he said if after it's approved, but I'm asking for it ahead of time, so. Like Susie and Commissioner, there's not enough information here.
Commissioner Nash.
Well, I just want to add to that, we have to understand that we're in a crisis when it comes to good workers and labor right now. And this is also a competition thing. And I can guarantee you, if we do not move forward and advance this county in certain areas, this is not going to be like we're going to have half our staff doing this. It's going to be very selective. But if I can work here and not have it, but then I could go somewhere else and get it, I think I might go somewhere else. And that's what you're looking at. That's another reason why I'm saying that we really need to look at this and put this on the table, because we're in competition with every other community around us, every other county and around the state and around the country. So we have to look at that and move forward with the times. And this is just part of what's going on. And that's why even some of the other businesses are modifying the way that they work with their employees in a lot of different ways, because the strain is happening. And if you look at several departments now, they're strained because they don't have enough staff to do what we do. And I'll tell you what, you do not want to lose people in your equalization department, because those positions are almost incredible to fill. And that is where our bread and butter is from. So I've always said, whatever we need in equalization, we better make sure we got it.
Can I add something to what you just said? I appreciate your comments. I lost 4 people this year. I routinely have competition with Ottawa. I lost 3 over the last, how many years, to Ottawa County. They get paid more, and now they're pretty much exclusively at home. I saw postings from the state. There's a shortage of assessors. We're gray now at the business, the Silver Tsunami. And there really is struggling to find and train. So I train and not retain, and it's costing the county in the long run. But one of the things too, there were postings from the state just recently for a level 2, starting at 25 and higher. I can't remember the top end, exclusively from home. It's for an assessor, trying to get people. And again, an assessing job isn't sitting in the office all day on your computer. So it's a problem if we don't allow it, because I'll lose people. I'll continue to lose people to surrounding units.
Go ahead, address Commissioner Pago's comment, please.
Go ahead.
Or question, I should say. As a department head, Commissioner, I would only allow my employees to work from home that I think can work from home, that are capable of working from home and productive from working from home. I think the rest of I'll speak for all the department heads.
And how would you monitor them, Mr. Phillips, as far as their productivity?
Production.
Production as in.
Production and did they get the job done? If they don't get it done, if things aren't getting done, they're gonna get brought back in.
Okay.
And I can tell if they're working from home, because I assign them projects and the projects don't get accomplished, they're not working.
Okay, good, thank you. Any other questions?
I do have one more question.
Commissioner Hughes, please.
Would we, I mean, this is really vague about what kind of requirements would be. I mean, if you're gonna work 8 hours a day, you should be working 8 hours a day. And I know my niece that works from home, they require her to get a babysitter. And you have to have either the babysitter in your house, or you can't have the kids there, because you can't be putting in 8 hours and making lunch and putting them down for naps and rocking somebody and all of that stuff. So, I mean, we're gonna do something like that. And what about the departments that you can't do from home? I mean, that they don't have people that can work from home. Are they gonna be mad because some people do and some people can't? Is that gonna be an issue for us?
Yeah, I mean, it's up to each director who qualify. And then if they do say you qualify and then they don't perform, then they're back in the office. So it's really leaving it up to each director who qualifies.
And but are we gonna require our people to track so that we know for sure that the people are working?
Yes, I mean, each director knows that.
Okay.
Commissioner Pagel.
Well, I think a year is too long of a pilot program to this. After a year, I mean, that could affect the county negatively in multitude of ways for a year to let this program. I might be for it if it was a shorter term program, maybe. But yeah, I'm still opposed to it, but a year is definitely too long, because by the time you let a year go by, we could have some really disastrous effects on our county. What is the cost? What is this going to cost us? I don't see anything budgeted, any kind of monetary amount. Nothing was presented.
Yeah, there's, you know, obviously the courts are leading the way on this with the district court. You know, the judges approved that already, but the idea is that we're using county equipment, but not additional equipment. And we're not paying for internet at their home. If they don't have internet accessible at home, then they don't work at home. I mean, it's nothing that we're giving additional to the employees for them to work remotely.
I think I heard IT director say it's $12 a month for the software per employee or something. So there is some cost.
Can I respond to that?
Sure.
So right now, that is a program that's available, but Ivan's able to run those audit reports for us at no charge. So he's been able to give those reports that show what people are logged into and for how long. And then again, in our systems, in the courts, we have a paperless file system. And I know that some of the other departments have similar systems. We have a dashboard. So some of our measurements that we have is how many child support modifications did you do? And that system shows us that information. And that's a technology dashboard that we're able to run.
I'm gonna sneeze. Do you have another question though?
And then I agree with what the county administrator said, that the internet is their responsibility. So as he mentioned, that people don't have good internet, then it's not an option for them. And then also to answer your question, it is in there that they cannot stay home to do daycare. Now, that was something that during the worst of pandemic, my OSHA required that. Once that was gone, we let staff know that, hey, as of this date, that's not an option anymore. You cannot be home to do daycare. We're very strict about that. Not only daycare, but also elder care. We have a lot of parents who are caring for their elderly parents, and can't be your sole purpose for staying home. You have to have somebody else that can care for them.
To follow up with what I was wanting to get out, my sneeze left me. So I would like to see from the directors that do plan on implementing this, some sort of a report at full board, or before that, if you could send it to us, what employees that you have under you, what their duties are, you know, like, because I mean, I don't specifically know what those duties are that they are going to be performing from home. So more details on that would be greatly
From
appreciated.
those who just are interested in doing it, is that what?
Well,
what
apparently
you're
the administrator
addressing?
said the directors that plan on implementing it are here in this room right
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
So the five of you that are here, 6, whatever, if you could submit, you know, some sort of information on what those employees' duties are,
Yeah.
you know,
I would
so
like
we have a
to see
better
that also.
understanding. Thank you.
I would agree with that. I'd like to see that also. But from what I've heard, it sounds like most of the ones that are planning on doing it have a pretty good handle on ways to monitor if these people are going to be productive or not. So any other questions? Commissioner Laring, please.
So Ivan, is he still in here? The $12 per employee, was that per month, per year?
Per month.
Per month. Who pays that $12 and how many employees are you accessing that, right? What is the bill for that currently? You have the program, I'm assuming. You already purchased it?
No.
Also, we don't have it.
I have quoted to us.
Okay. How much is the purchase of that program?
It's $12 per employee per month.
Okay, so, and so it can change, it can, if one employee gets added, it's just another $12 per month. So you, I guess I thought from what you said, it was already implemented during COVID.
No,
So you've never used this program?
and that,
Okay, so then there is a cost with this, and we don't know how many employees are we talking about putting on this program? Do we have any idea?
Well,
well, again, I wouldn't put any of my employees, let them work from
Not
home.
your department, I'm just countywide employees that might be, are we talking about 10? Are we talking 100? I mean, we have 1,200 employees, and probably most of them would choose to work from home if they had the option. So I just, what is the cost of implementing this pilot for 1 year at $12 per employee per month? I mean, we could be talking $1,000 or significantly more, and who pays that?
That would be up to the board of commissioners, not a director. At the director level, it'll be up to the board of commissioners if they want to implement a program like that, or trust the directors to go ahead and put people working at home that they know can work from home, be productive.
So, point of clarification, so Ivan, you've been able to monitor people's computers for the last several years,
Correct.
and that's the information you're providing to Sandra.
Correct. It's very time consuming, so we don't do it to all the employees. When we get a request, we can certainly pull the records and give you detailed information, granular information on what the employees went up to.
So that's the program we plan on using. We're not planning on buying one. After the pilot is something that we think is worth going forward, maybe we come back to the pilot. Mr. Phillips has the capability.
But he just said it's very time consuming. Are you gonna give him 3 or 4 new employees?
We haven't done it only when requested.
okay.
so.
Yeah, it'd be, I mean, each record doesn't go by each employee currently to check at their desk to see if they're working, right? It's the ones that are not getting work done, so you have the capability to check what they have been doing.
I think it should be mandatory that we do the $12 a month thing and that's available all the time. And that's the cost to your department of letting that employee work from home. I think that's too much.
Chair Scholin,
Yeah,
please.
I just want to say, this is, in my mind, I don't know why we're going so far into this. It's a pilot program. We're just trying to see if it works. Having owned businesses all my life, every time I change, want to do something different, everybody was in my office telling me why it won't work. Most of the time it works. Sometimes it didn't. But it's the way the world is going. And some of these jobs can be done at home. I think most cannot. We can have the clerk's home and then people will call to get a copy of the birth certificate. There's many jobs here you have to do in person. So I don't think it's going to be a ton of jobs, but if they're more efficient at home and people are happier, I really don't see any problem with trying it. And as far as Commissioner Pego's comment about she thinks a year is too long, it's going to take a while to get this up and running and figure it out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I think the way they wrote the motion, it's pretty clear that if you want to stop, you got to come back to work.
No,
Commissioner Pego, would you like to speak?
Also,
Commissioner Pego, please.
Oh, sorry.
Chair
I'm
Skolnick
sorry,
wasn't
Chair
done.
Skolnick, are you done?
He wasn't done.
No,
Okay,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to say one more thing before Director Phillips leaves. I'd like to ask him a question at the very end.
Okay. Commissioner Pego,
So just, Chair Skolnick just said it's gonna take a long time to get this thing up and running, but it said by November 15th. I just read that somewhere. So
No, it's going to take a while to figure out
See if it's
how
gonna
it's
work.
working. We've already done it for a long time.
No, I gotta say, I'll make a comment. As I was vice president of the company, I was here in Muskegon, corporate office was in Philadelphia. I had customer service in Pittsburgh. I had a plant down in Texas. And I had 6 regional managers around the country, and we communicated better than we're doing now. Okay, come on. So, it can be done. The technology is there. I would love to have the directors make those calls, whether their employees are working or not and being efficient. That's my.
Commissioner Harvey, right?
Just to remind our group here, that several of the directors already said they're already have ways of tracking it without doing it in the computers. And it's not been a problem. Mr. Phillips does it just as a matter of course. So I think we're kind of micromanaging this, and I think we need to try it out as Mr. And trust our directors to pull somebody off if they're not being efficient, and put them back in their offices. So that's just because the program goes for a year, it doesn't mean everybody on the program goes for a full year.
Commissioner Waring?
So I will remind the board again, we're looking at buying a brand new building for this, and maybe we don't need it if we work from home. So one, we've heard from IT that if we are going to run a program, he only does it on the specific employee by a request. Basically is a bit of an investigation, and it's very time cumbersome for you and your staff to run it. So if we're going to do this, you mentioned a program that does it automatically and issues a report at $12 per employee. My question is, everyone in this room liked working on Zoom. Our state legislators and senators said, get your butts back in the seat. We can't work from home. Even though we did it for a year, they told us we had to come back in here. You can't vote unless you have a medical excuse to come into this room. You have to be in here because our governor and our legislator and our Senate said you're more productive in this face-to-face action. There's one source for you, Marcia, our House, Senate, and governor. Secondly, we're going to burden IT for it. If we're going to run these reports, and if we're going to do it from home, there's a program that does it that's not going to take up the IT time, which is already stressed by your staff. I just did it. So we have 1,200 employees-ish, 1,200 employees. If just 100 of them want to work at home, that program is going to be $14,000 a year. You're going to have to do something, or Ivan's going to have to hire more people to monitor the system. The system is not self-monitored. He has to go in because the director complains, correct? And says, hey, would you check on what this employee is doing? You put a staff person on it, it takes you time.
The only time I would do that is if another director requested it.
Okay, so that's my point. This is not a monitored system. There are systems out there. You may not want to do that. I'm opposed to this because there's no oversight unless that we spend IT resources that we don't have to do an investigation on an employee. I would be opposed to it if the program was free, but the program's not free and it's going to cost you more time and resources just to monitor it. If you get one director says, hey, can you check on this employee? He doesn't seem to be productive. You've got time investment and people and resources invested in that investigation. And they're going to have a brand new office. Why are we buying a new office if we're going to go to work from home, which you can't even do?
I think these investigations are going to be, the actual investigations IT would be doing will probably be at a minimum because from what I hear from the directors in this room, that they have a pretty good handle on how to tell if their people are working or not. So I don't really think that's going to be an issue going forward. I don't think we're going to have every week people shooting things over to Mr. Phillips to monitor. And but I would suggest, as Commissioner Pago said, that from the directors, I would like kind of a list of who you think. If you've got a dozen people on your team and 3 of them want to work from home, I'd like to know that. I'd like to have some numbers and some idea of what this thing's going to look like going forward. So, any other questions?
I have one other comment.
Yes.
I would really like to see us require this with the employees that we at least have the opportunity to monitor. If it's that great a thing for the employees to do that, it's $12 a month for employee you decide to put on that. Make it a charge back to the people who have the employees. You've got 10 of them, it's going to cost you $140 a month, or $120 a month. I just think that you'd be better off to do something like that so that we can show the people that we've done some accountability and not just said you can work from home. I think we owe that to our residents. So I'd like to make a motion that along with this, we require that each department have the technology, the $12 technology Eileen, can you help me with this, please?
I certainly can. My employees work at nights and weekends.
Mhm.
Do you expect me to pay, to have them monitor to work at nights
No,
and
that's why
weekends?
help me make a motion that says, I want the departments that, okay, here's my motion. I want the departments that choose to have people out on work from home, pay the $12 a month per person so that that report is available to them if they want it.
You mean it's to be charged back to the employee?
Charge back, no, charge back to the department.
Well, the county still has to pay that then.
Doesn't, I don't care, as long as it comes out of that department budget.
Would you
If
be
you wanna
asking-
lay- if you want to do it that way.
Okay, hang on.
Wait a minute. I think we need to separate the motions.
Mr. Chair, you're
Yes.
already charged that. That's how it works. The whole system works like that.
Why would the clerk have to do that when she can't put anybody in there?
They're charged back by the percentage they use.
Wait, no,
Yes.
is that how they're charged back, Director Phillips?
There's a formula that's used, that's very similar to what Chair is talking about, the word Chair is talking about.
Then I would just like to require that they have that. Go ahead.
Did you make the original motion?
No.
No.
I think it might make sense. No, I just could not keep track of who had made it. I think it might make sense to request that the person who made that motion do a friendly amendment to their motion to add that provision and see if that's supported. You have a motion on the table right now.
Yes.
And this is not really a subsidiary motion to that procedurally. It's not like a motion to table or a motion to postpone.
Okay. I don't remember who made the
The
motion.
motion was made by Commissioner Hovey Wright, the original
Marcia, I would
motion.
just like to, okay. Thank you. What kind of a motion can I make to do that?
I'm not sure that you have the floor to make a motion because there is already a substantive motion pending. So it sounds like you're making a substantive.
That was just the
motion.
Go ahead and vote on this
motion,
one, then
Yeah.
come back to the new motion.
Okay,
right.
New
Yeah, it may-
business.
It should be divided anyway. They're two separate.
Susan, you can order dinner.
I may have to.
Okay, I'm just gonna make a motion to table this.
Second.
Till when? Do we-
I take that as a motion to table as in suspend consideration, not to postpone it to a specific.
I said table, correct, and I have a second.
So they come up at the end of the meeting, and bring it back up
No.
again.
That is not debatable.
So we vote
You'll vote
on.
on
We
that.
vote.
All right.
Commissioner Hughes to table,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
No.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes,
Chairman Skolnick,
No.
Commissioner Wilkins,
No.
Commissioner Brown,
No.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
No,
Commissioner Steer.
No.
5 no, 4 yes.
Make a motion, call for the question.
second.
All right, call the question. All right, let's have a vote on this motion, please.
Wait, this is a motion. You need to vote on the motion to call the question 2/3.
yes, you do.
I withdraw my motion.
Thank you. Have a vote on 118, please.
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
No,
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes,
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes,
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Steer.
Yes.
That's 7 yes, 2 no.
That item passes. The next item, WM 21/11-119, to authorize Muskegon County to continue membership of the Michigan Transit Pool for MATS general liability and auto liability insurance coverage for a policy period 12/1/2021 through 11/30/2022, with an annual contribution of $111,036 paid in quarterly installments.
So move.
Support.
I have a motion and support. Questions, comments, or concerns on this item? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
no,
Commissioner, or Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
yes,
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
yes,
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Steer.
Yes,
8 yes, 1 no.
that item passes. The next item is WM 21/11-120, to approve a sole source procurement and extend the maintenance agreement with Tyler Technologies for 1 year in the amount of $72,635.22.
So move.
Support.
Have a motion and support. Questions, comments, or concerns on this item?
yes, Mr. Chair. I did not,
Yes,
I
Commissioner
did not
Pego,
see
please.
the agreement or contract in the board packet. Mr. Fairchild, do you have that agreement that you can
No, I
send to
don't have
us?
that.
Can you send that to us before full board?
Sure.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hughes, please.
Yes, Could I ask what makes it sole source?
Okay. Tyler Technologies, Mark Fairchild of Muskegon County Register of Deeds. We originally went with Tyler Technologies to provide the recording software and the clerk's recording software back in 2002. And subsequently, that software was upgraded again in 2013. But we've had a maintenance agreement to maintain the software for upgrades and just everyday, basically help desk support. It caters directly to the software as opposed to like IT type stuff. So, and so what's happened is we've had basically been providing the service for 20 years now. And every year we've
So it's
had,
Tyler's that's
yes, and so.
doing their system.
Right, and so, like, in this speaks to, it's not just the Register of Deeds, it's also the clerk's platform also runs on the server and was purchased at that time and has expanded over the years as we started to do electronic recording. We've now integrated portions of this with the equalization department and the treasurer's office. So it's all electronic, so you have additional costs there that has to be covered for their operations too.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Hovey Wright, please.
Yes, as I recall, there was something about you gave back to the county, I think to the general fund, money that was saved. Or maybe I'm remembering that wrong. Do you remember?
Well, since I became a Register of Deeds, it's been and I came from the private sector, and I also worked in the mortgage industry before I became a Register of Deeds. I've always tried to run the operation like a business. And so when I became the Register of Deeds, there was a tremendous amount of delays there, 6 months of recording, things like that. So I worked to implement digital technologies, things like that. But I went to the legislature. We actually wrote a technology bill, and that was John Engel was still governor back then. It was the last bill that he signed before he left office. But what we did is we created the Register of Deeds Automation Fund that allowed us to capture a fee with every recording document, okay, so that we could implement technology in all the Register of Deeds offices across the state. So, and that's being done across the nation now. But as part of that, the clerk needed to upgrade at the same time. We were buying the servers, so we figured we'll buy those additional modules to provide that service to them. Like I said, as this has expanded, the technology kind of rolls out, and we integrate with the sheriff. We also integrate with the prosecutor, occasionally the courts. Every day we file documents that come from the court for judgments, et cetera. So we have assisted, the IT infrastructure in Muskegon County, probably to $250,000 over and above, what we pay. And then also the prosecutor and sheriff, another $300,000 or $400,000. So, we're trying to, we build that base so that we're strong and we know that we can continue to provide the service.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Pagel?
So since I don't have the contract or agreement, what is the current yearly annual amount that you're paying? You're asking for 72,000 right now, is that what it
This
is?
is the annual amount, which.
We're already paying that right now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just extending it
This
completely?
was officially due October 1st.
No, that's what it was last year and the year before?
No,
or-
it goes up a little bit every year. So
Okay.
but we budget, and like I said, there's resources to pay for this come out of the automation fund, but we budget accordingly. And like I said, so, but through finance personnel changes, recently, and through procurement changes, the numbers have changed. So now instead of just
I
so that's why I'm here
understand.
before.
If you can just have that agreement and contract.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Chair Simonet, please.
Mr. Fairchild, this money then does not come out of the general fund. No, it's not general fund. So.
Mr. Fairchild, do you know any of your employees who would desire to work from home?
Well, that's interesting because, it was Friday the 13th, 2020, as I recall, Commissioner Hughes, when we actually shut down county government back last year. And we shut down for one day, but the former U.S. Treasury Secretary declared registered deeds and recorders across the nation essential critical infrastructure. And so we started recording after one day of shutdown and continued to operate. Some of my employees knew that, and because of the equipment they use and because of the paper that we handle from either UPS or the post office, that they needed to be there. So we had a couple people in the office all the time during the shutdown. And, I had 2/3 of them working from home. And we'd already had that technology in place. So I went out.
But you don't know right now. You don't know right now who might be.
No, what I was
interested in
gonna say is, when we officially opened back up in June of last year, my staff said, no, we all want to be there because we have walk-in customers
Okay.
continually.
Okay,
We,
that's
it's
fine.
face-to-face, interaction. So we want to take care of everybody.
All right,
So
thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Any other questions?
How
Commissioner
many
Pagel?
employees do you have?
there's 7 in the registered deeds currently.
Thank you.
We have 2 vacant positions.
So you have 7 total or 5,
9.
There's 9.
9 total?
And one of those is unfunded. I had requested that to be unfunded. And what happened was, when the COVID thing started, my deputy registrar of deeds said, I don't know about this. So she retired. So I have unfilled position. right now.
Thank
So 9 is normal and 2 and 7 are filled currently.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Pego,
No, I'd like to see the contract before I vote yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes,
8 yes, 1 no.
thank you. That item passes. Next item, WM 21/11-121, to approve the sale of lot number 7 in the county's Business Park North for $8,000 per acre for a total purchase price of $24,000 to Dale's Tree Service LLC, and authorize the chair to sign the purchase agreement and authorize the Public Works Director to sign all the necessary documents related to the closing.
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion and support. Questions, concerns, comments on this item?
Comment, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner
I
Brown,
want
go
to thank
ahead.
Matt for doing this and keeping the momentum going. Thank you. It's really good news to hear that. And I know it's really a success story. So,
It is. Appreciate that, man. Let's have a roll call vote on this, please.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes,
9 yes.
an item passes. The next item is WM 21/11/11-122, to waive the procurement policy and extend the 2 service contracts with Otis Elevator expiring February 28th, 2022 for a 5-year term starting March 1st, 2022, and authorize the chair to sign the extension.
So
So
moved.
moved. Support.
I have a motion and support. Questions, concerns, comments on this item?
Also one comment.
Yes, Commissioner Hughes, go
I
ahead.
certainly want to get the company that makes the elevators, the company that repairs the elevators. So thank you, Matt.
Any other comments? Commissioner
Just to
Laring?
that, note,
Oh,
I
I'm
do want
sorry.
to ask a question,
Commissioner Nash?
unless somebody else was first.
No. I called on Commissioner Laring, but he's yielding to,
No, he can go right ahead.
Matt, I do have a question for you. So is Otis, because those are Otis elevators, are they the only ones that can have a service agreement? Or is this something that can be competitively bid?
We did 5 years ago. Prior to 5 years ago, there was several companies working on these elevators. And the problems that we were running into was if you call Kone and they have a contract with Otis Elevator, they can certainly give you a low bid to come check it every month and say that it's good. But when they come in to repair, they don't have access to Otis's parts. So we're really paying some high bills on those parts. So we worked with finance at the time. We gathered all these contracts, waited for them to expire. They were mainly evergreen contracts from the 80s. So that is strategically 30 days expire, don't renew. Then we combined them into one, and Angie's team got us a cooperative, but it was a cooperative bid. And Otis was low bid on that. And as we can see, I think we saved $18,000 a year by going straight to Otis through that cooperative bid. And what we're asking now is Otis still is low on that cooperative bid, is to extend those two contracts another 5 years rather than go to the bidding process, because in some ways I'm not comfortable with it, because anyone can say, okay, $200 an hour to do the maintenance, do the checks, but when it comes time to repair, you can't put a dollar on those parts. They're expensive.
Are all the elevators in the county Otis elevators?
11 of 17 are Otis. And we'll lose some of the non-Otises if the board ultimately decides to close South Campus.
Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring.
Yes.
Commissioner Nash.
Yes.
Commissioner Pego.
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes.
9 yes.
That item passes. The next item, WM 21-11 or /11-123. To reorganize the finance department is presented and adjust the budget accordingly.
So I'd like to make a motion that we reorganize the finance department as presented and adjust the budget accordingly, except I would also like to move the procurement process under IT where it should be, because right now and in the past, it has been a conflict of interest with our IT or our finance department and the procurement being together, because they kind of do different things. So there's a conflict of interest there, and I have several different articles here that show that it should be under IT because they work so well together. So I would like to do that all at the same time. That's my motion.
No ideas.
Did that motion get made before the other motion was made and supported?
Not.
There was no.
There wasn't, I
support.
made the motion
I
first.
so moved it, but then I'm not even sure what Commissioner Hughes just said.
Yeah, that I would like to make the motion to do that, but I would like to take the procurement department and put it under IT instead of leaving it under the finance department, because there's a conflict of interest there.
Procurement under IT?
Yes, because that's what, I got a thing here that says the impact of information technology on procurement and purchasing. I've seen 20 of them, but even Mac has told me it should be under two things. It should be under IT or it should be under administration. But right now, with all the information, this is an article from LinkedIn.
You're talking about.
Wait,
We're
wait,
getting into deliberation, we're
wait.
getting into deliberation, and I'm not sure what motion is pending. So I heard there was.
I moved the original motion.
Was there a second?
Was there
I
support?
thought there was.
I did.
Was there a second?
Well,
Yeah,
I thought I
Marcia,
did, yeah.
Marcia
Because
does.
if not, then there's two motions without a second, and we need to know which one is supported. If there was a motion and a second, then there was a motion on the table.
I thought I made the first motion, but
He made the first motion because he read it and I said so moved and she seconded it.
You made the motion by saying so moved.
Correct.
It was supported.
okay.
I heard multiple people speaking at the same
I
time.
think that is.
Yeah.
That's probably because
I was just so
I'm probably
confused.
one
I'm
of
like, what is she
several.
I
doing?
did hear Commissioner Pego.
But in that case, I would like
Okay,
to,
so we have a motion and support, so let's have some discussion.
I would like to ask Melinda to amend her motion to include moving the procurement under IT. It's so much more
I
efficient.
will
and it's
decline
not-
because I don't have that
Okay.
information.
And I
Cindy.
should have got that to you.
Maybe if you want to bring that
I
information.
will make,
submit it
I
to
will
us
make a
before
motion
the board.
afterwards.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
Okay. So the
Okay.
motion as presented on the agenda has been made and supported, and now it is time for discussion on that.
Discussion on it. Anybody? Anybody?
I just have,
Commissioner Nash.
I just wanted to ask the administrator how comfortable he feels in this, and does he have good faith in the people that you're lining up to handle this, because ultimately you'll have to answer to
That's a very, very good question. And research we've been doing the last, I don't know, since Beth left, end of August, right?
that.
And Angela Chesky, that's that right? Took over Dwight's place, position, and before that, she worked for the county 5 years, I believe. So it's a long story here, because I've been taken through this
Short now.
process. And it's very important to have the right person in this position, usually stated.
Right.
And
You're
over the
talking
past
about
2
the
months, I've been
Angie.
able to get to know Angela better in the work she's done. But at the same time, she's been able to see what I would like to work with, and honestly, the board, what the board's like to work with. And over that month, we advertised and didn't have anybody really qualified, and we started looking at hiring a company to do it. In the meantime, gave Angie the opportunity to look at her department and see ways she could reorganize it. And she came to me and said, would you consider this other option? And so it's her idea, not necessarily mine, pushing this idea down the department, more work on them, is her and her team. So that they came together and presented their recommendation of how it would work. I have talked to the other directors who all feel very comfortable with Angela and that team. And the idea is moving the management top and put another person down there to do more work, hands-on work. Obviously, it's very helpful for the team as well. So I had very good positive response from other directors. Angela is done a good job and answers my questions, seems to answer the board's questions very clearly. So yes, I support that, and I think Angela did an excellent job.
With a substantial cost savings.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
I have a comment too.
Oh, yes, Commissioner Hughes, please.
I too have worked with Angie. I think she's absolutely excellent for this position. I'm really excited to see her there. My concern was not at all with Angie or the things that are in this. It's just that, and Mark and I've discussed this for years, there is a conflict of interest with our procurement being underfinanced. So I was just going to take this opportunity and move that out under IT. And the article that I just found the other day from LinkedIn, I'm just going to read you the last sentence. It says, in conclusion, the information technology has a significant impact on the process of procurement and purchasing. The technology helps collect the data, but it also provides much effectiveness in reducing errors and by saving all the necessary information electronically. And it is time to get that out of finance. It is a conflict of interest there.
So,
So all we will be doing is moving one person into another department.
so,
Commissioner Pago?
yeah, so you're saying that would fall underneath IT, so then Ivan would be
I
in
will
charge
move
of
that directly.
procurement?
That's exactly what they say we should do. And actually, Max says the same thing.
But
Should be under IT or
However,
administration.
I don't know how long it's been going this way already with the procurement underneath finance, but all the directors seem to be satisfied and the county's been functioning.
You're good.
Point of order.
Yeah, we're not really discussing this. There's no motion for this right now.
I just brought it up as. to
Okay, I
explain why
appreciate
that
that. Commissioner Harvey, right?
Yeah, I was just, I see that we're adding a new position at the bottom. And I'm trying to figure out where the 58,000, which is wonderful, savings comes from. I just don't know where it comes from.
I think probably at the bottom where it says eliminate the county.
Okay,
manager.
Angie, please, Angie,
I think
please.
that's what you guys need to say.
Yeah, that is gonna be, I'm sorry, Angela Gashewski, accounting manager. That is gonna be eliminating that accounting management
Okay,
position and then bringing in a lower paid individual.
okay, all right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
And
Commissioner
I
Nash,
did-
go
I
ahead.
guess The only thing that I'm want to make sure, change is different, so everybody, it's difficult even for us to handle sometimes. So, being so used to so many different people, so many different names that are there, this is a complete change. And that's why I was asking our administrator how comfortable he is, because he had to be very supportive to have his name on this as far as bringing it forward to commissioners. But I guess I would ask Angie, there's a lot of details, and speaking of Mark too, there's a lot of details that are finite, that we do expect the expertise and understanding of all those, especially when it comes to proper use of fundings and states and federal regulations and things of that sort. So that's why, I mean, I just want to make sure that we have people that are capable, that are competent, and understands that there's a lot of fine details to that and leave no stone unturned. Because, adding and doing the books is fine, but making sure that we're following every guideline and every statute and everything that we need to do in those steps, and making sure, we're reporting on time and things of that sort, because it could be costly to us down the road without having that understanding and knowledge and not reporting things on time. So hopefully, those are the things that our administrator and our new potential finance department leader will be.
Yes, and Angela does have her CPA license as well, and she's been working very closely with Foster Swift on the Gulf West lawsuit already. So she's been getting lots of information, and she's up to speed on that also.
I do have one other question.
Yes, Commissioner Hughes, go ahead.
Why all of the raises for everybody in the department right now?
I'll let her explain.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you say
Why
that
all
again?
the raises for your department right now?
Well, this is really a reorganization. So,
Okay.
so you're eliminating the accounting manager position.
Mhm.
We are bringing 2 employees that are long, one's very long-term, Carson Lehigh, and then Jamie, who has been with the county for also several years, up into more of a leadership position. So that will allow our department to be a little bit more efficient, because we will have more areas, more leadership within the department. Eliminating some of the bottlenecks that we've experienced over the last couple of years. So those people are going to be taking on additional duties. If there's another person here, number 3, Mary Jo Gentry, she processes all of the accounts payable for the entire county, which you see, the first motion on today's agenda is the accounts payable motion. You see one of those on every way to name. She heads up processing all of that. When we originally created that position, we didn't really know where it was going to go. And it's really evolved into a position that takes a lot more knowledge and ability than maybe was originally understood. So for that position, it's just really right sizing, maybe is the right term for that, getting her up into a range that is indicative of the work that she does.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
9 yes.
That item passes. We go on to item number 6, which is unfinished business. Is there any
I do
unfinished
have some-
business?
I would still like to make a motion to move the procurement department out of finance. I know that Angie's got some things in that the procurement department girl does for her there. And until she can make arrangements to move those around in her department, I don't have a problem with leaving her there.
Do you want to make your
It's just
motion
a-
and see if there's a support and then we
Yeah,
can
let me
deliberate?
do that. I'm sorry.
That's right.
I'd like to make a motion to move the procurement department out of purchasing because of the conflict of interest and move it in under IT. No.
Hearing no support. Is there any more unfinished business?
Can you explain that exactly what is intended?
Could have seconded the motion.
If you want to
Moved
second the
on.
motion, I can do that.
We've moved on. Point of order.
Yeah, I made a motion. Do you want to support it?
I'll support that.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioner Hovey Wright.
In that case, could you explain what the conflict of interest would be? Yeah.
No, easy, because I've been to MAC to this, ask the people at Michigan Association of Counties several different times. Especially when the county is in a situation where we have budget restrictions. It's easy for, if procurement is under finance, it's easy for finance to lead them into saying, no, let's go with the cheaper one, let's go with the cheaper one, and let's try and make sure we save all the money we can. Well, sometimes that's not in our best interest. The best interest is to go with somebody who has some more experience, or, like Matt says, somebody who Otis elevators to work on Otis elevators. But if the other guy is considerably cheaper, when you're under finance, the finance director is what tries to push you into spending less money when really more money would be more effective for the organization. It's the same thing in regular business as it is in counties or in government. And ideally, it would be, according to Matt and according to the articles I've looked at, it would be best under administration or under IT. And I can send you some articles that Matt just sent me a thing 2 days ago on a thing from LinkedIn that shows why they recommend for IT. And I did talk to Jamie and I did talk to Ivan, and they said right now they're one above the other and they already work together really, really good. And Jamie had a point that I never really thought about before. She said, IT affects everything in the county. And I said, well, I know they do a lot of stuff. She said, yeah, but I don't realize sometimes that when we're trying to buy tractors for the wastewater, all of the tractors run on GPS. So they all got to go through the IT department to get all that figured out anyway. Almost everything goes through IT. So according to her, that would be the ideal place for it. And also according to Matt and to LinkedIn, that's the place for it. So, and Mark and I have talked about moving this several different times, and even Beth and I talked about it. But when we hired Beth, we moved a couple different things away from her, and I think she was afraid if we took one more department away from her, we might cut her wages. So she really didn't want to move it, but really, ideally, it should be moved because of conflict of interest.
But
Chair Skolnick.
At this time, I can't think of the worst idea. I don't even know where this comes from. I mean, it makes no sense. We have so much stuff on our plate and you're worried about this. It's been working fine. I haven't heard complaints from anybody. If they need to talk to a department for, if they need to talk to IT for expertise, they do that. Oh my God, really?
Well, Matt said you need
And
to
I
get
can
that
find
moved.
whatever I want on the internet and I'll tell you why it's a bad idea
Or a good idea.
or a good idea. Whatever you want, I'll find
That's
it.
exactly right.
Motion to postpone.
Support.
I want to
Is
postpone.
that-
Should have tabled it. You mean table.
Do you mean a motion to postpone to a specific something, specific
Full
date?
board.
Or a motion to table? Sorry.
Postpone to full board.
Support.
I need more information. This is not.
I'll send you all the
this is
stuff
not
I have.
helping me.
When you
From
make,
Matt, more
excuse me,
information.
when you make a motion to postpone, it needs to be until something, whether that's a date
Say
or an
Full
event.
board. Next
The
full
full board,
board.
okay, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Apologize.
yeah, I know,
Sorry.
that's a problem.
I'm sorry. Okay, so motion to postpone until the next full board meeting. Okay, was that supported?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I know Bob's.
Okay, and this is a postpone, just a majority or is it two-thirds?
It is a majority.
All right, let's have a vote, please.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes,
8 yes, 1 no.
that item passes. Any more unfinished business? Is there any new business?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Laring. please.
I'd like to make a motion to eliminate the hazmat team and liquidate the assets.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns with this item?
I guess I'd like to know why.
Yeah.
So
Commissioner Laring, go ahead.
I met with the director, emergency manager. He said that the hazmat team has not been utilized in the last couple of years. Secondly, there's a storage issue with the equipment. Third is we have 2 contractors in the county that provide these services. Hazmat does not provide any cleanup of any service. They just file reports when they are activated, and it's just an cumbersome process. Most of our wrecker services provide hazmat services. let alone two of the major contractors that are in the county regularly. Young's Environmental and Northern A1 provide these services to the chemical plants that are in this county. Our hazmat team hasn't been utilized, and it's just a burden on storage.
Did you second?
Mhm.
I have another question.
Yes, Commissioner.
Do we pay,
Hughes,
do
please.
we, is it a paid team?
They're a volunteer team, actually. Matt, can you answer that?
It would be
Angie.
Angie is. What it is it's a volunteer team, but there is a small cost to operations. We can get that information for you.
We can get the information for you.
So the question was, I guess you want me to answer? You're the chair, Mr. Chair.
The question was, what was the question? I missed something here.
Susie asked if it was a paid team.
Oh,
So the answer is no, they're not a paid team. The team is volunteers from our local municipalities. It's the equipment, and the storage of the equipment is where the cost savings would come from. Right now, that equipment is stored out at the airport, and we have to vacate that premises in order to get a FAA-approved
Tenant?
the tenant into that space. That space is designed as an airport hangar. The FAA requires it to be aviation related. And right now, there are no fees collected to the airport for the hazmat. Doesn't pay anything to be in there.
Commissioner Nash.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to postpone this until the next committee. This is getting out of hand with these last minute things that are coming every meeting that we have no time to even think about, discuss. The information has also been, well, anyway, that needs a second, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would second that.
And what I wanted to say was, the last fiasco we had with the Fair Board, I was contacted by people from the Fair Board who explained that the information that we got from one of our commissioners was not true, was misrepresented, and it was a complete opposite and misunderstanding from what we were told. And I'm just to the point where this is happening often, every time we turn around, and we need to change our board rules. I don't think we need any last minute discussions when we're talking about the services and thousands of dollars and employees and all these other things. There should be no rapid last minute
or unwritten
decisions. And when this could be brought before us so we can at least look at it, ask questions, discuss it. But to keep dropping stuff on us at this last minute, this has got to stop. And that's the reason for the motion. But I'm hoping that we can move forward and do this permanently for committees and change our board rules.
Yeah, I think they need to be in writing, and we have to have them on the agenda. I totally agree with, because it doesn't give us any chance to check your facts. And there are a lot of facts have been misspoken and incorrect.
Name one.
A whole bunch of stuff like he just
A
said.
bunch of stuff like he said, that's not a fact, it's misstated.
It was there was a lot of misinformation that you presented,
What
and starting with the ivermectin.
What's wrong with ivermectin? That cured COVID for me in 5
What does that
days.
have to do?
All right, that's
Another
enough.
misinformation.
Thank you.
Commissioner Brown, please.
I would like to say, Commissioner Lawrence, merit to his motion was that we do know that there is no revenue being brought in at the airport, and it's holding up the airport as far as maintenance budgets and so on. So I think that's some additional discussion we need to say is, if there is no money coming in to revenue, we're holding accountable the airport to do maintenance, and there is no revenue stream that comes in. So I think we need to explore those options, and I think that part of Commissioner Lawrence's motion does have merit. So thank you.
Commissioner Fagel.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I am fine with any motion being brought into a committee because it's not full board. This is where we are supposed to bring up new ideas and new discussions, just like Commissioner Hughes did. We might not have enough information, so we just bring it back forward until the next time, until there's a final vote. That is exactly what we have these committee meetings for. It's not like it was done under full board where it's the final vote. So thank you both for your new ideas and your new motions.
Council, do you agree with that? I mean, this is the place to do this, is Would it not be?
I'm not aware of anything in your current board rules that prohibits doing it.
Right.
I think Michael Muir might chime in on that. I think we looked at this up last week or two where it requires in writing. So I think that was added two Januaries ago, and we went through this whole process.
We should know that.
Exactly.
Mr. Comier, is he on the line?
I am.
I can see him.
I can see you.
Mike.
Can you hear me?
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Okay, hang on. Can you hear me now?
No. You're getting good at reading lips.
It was just added.
How about now? Nothing.
Unless you're reading, he has his hand raised too.
This laptop.
Mr.
How, sorry, Mike, I can't hear you. I'm gonna try to read your mind. Rule 6 of the board rules, section 1. All motions shall be put in writing at the request of the chairperson or any member of the board, and a copy shall be provided to the county clerk.
Can you read that?
Can you hear me now?
All motions shall be put in writing at the request of the chairperson or any member of the board, and a copy shall be provided to the county clerk.
That's correct.
At the request of the chair or any board member.
Mark, is that the provision that?
Yes, that's the one.
So that's pretty vague.
No, it has to be presented in writing. and we
Okay,
can
okay,
request
okay,
it.
okay, hang on. Commissioner Nash, please.
First of all, I don't mind his motion. It's the time. Okay,
I understand.
so I just want you guys to understand, it's true, yes, the airport is not making any money. I've made several suggestions that we just pay these folks so that they can make money. There's a lot of different ideas to discuss, but that's the point. That's why we just postponed Commissioner Hughes' motion. It's things that need to be discussed. And that's all I'm saying is we need time to go through this stuff. Because the information, when I got the calls and the information I got from those other folks, I felt like I was totally deceived. And it wasn't just one person, it was several people that were saying the same thing. And they said that this was not true, this was misinformation, these were things that they did not do. And even some made statements that they felt like they were being strong-armed at different points to make these motions. And they changed their rules to make sure that they didn't have that happen again. So they will postpone anything that comes at the last minute, not in writing. I think that's just smart. I'm not against motions. I'm against dropping them on us like surprise.
So.
So we can't check with the staff if we
Sure, I'll be
consider it.
right. Go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So, I mean, basically, you're preventing us from checking your facts or checking with staff that, what's your take on this? So that's why we have.
Just looking for a healthy discussion.
So then request it in writing.
So that's what I would like.
But currently the motion is a motion to postpone.
Right.
Oh, that's on the floor.
Correct.
Oh, cool.
To
Wait,
motion public
what?
safety.
No, to the next committee meeting.
Right.
No, I believe the
They
motion,
just said next committee.
the motion was to the next committee meeting.
It should be discussed.
Is that what you got as well?
It
What
was
is
to the
that
next
next committee?
committee meeting.
Okay.
Courts and public safety probably.
The next committee
There's
meeting.
several that day.
Well, where would it fit?
But
Wouldn't it be?
this technically under our board rules would go under courts and public safety anyway.
Hello.
Okay, let's vote on the postponement.
What are we postponing it to?
Courts and public
Public
safety.
safety, next committee meeting.
Can you hear me now?
If we want to move it to Ways and Means, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. That would be more appropriate.
Fine.
It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The motion was to next committee, which would be the 16th to the.
It has to be a relevant committee.
It,
Okay,
Nothing.
a lot of things come up that are relevant to the committee.
Is the Ways and Means prior before that?
It's the 16th, it looks like, on my
Yeah,
agenda. Is
That's
that
the next committee meetings for three different.
The
committees.
16th.
Ways and Means? That's what I meant, just to bring it back to Ways and Means.
It's the 16th.
I don't want to take it out of the committee. But if it's on the 16th, just put it in the Ways and Means committee.
Right.
Okay, postpone to Ways and Means on the 16th. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
No,
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
No, yes.
Commissioner Steer,
Yes.
7 yes, 2 no.
All right, is there any other new business today? Hearing none, is there any public comment?
You have one hand raised.
Really? Okay,
Rich Warner had his hand raised. If you want to say something, Rich?
Trying to find him in here. Hold on. He's gone.
he's still there.
is he there?
He's at the top. I can't unmute him, so I tried.
Unmute. Can you hear me? All right.
Here he goes.
Hello, can anybody hear me?
Rich, you're on.
Anybody, can you hear me?
You're on a list there.
Hello, can you hear me? They're having issues.
We can't hear you.
You're in the boardroom, Rich.
The speaker's not working.
Someone blocked his sound again.
He did. I didn't touch
Oh,
him.
okay.
Rich, I can hear you.
Can't hear you, Mike, either.
Yeah. It seems like when Mike speaks, it lights up yellow, which suggests that it's a speaker.
Mark Hansen said that he can hear him in his office.
There's
Zoom,
Rich
but it's
again.
the speaker that's broken.
Unmute. I'm sorry.
Is he still in here?
I can't unmute myself.
I don't know.
It's not
He's
you.
talking, but we can't hear him.
It's not
There's blocked again.
Commissioner Pego, can you turn up your speaker and see if they can be heard
Oh,
through your
for
device?
goodness sake.
I have to reconnect to my sound.
Hmm.
Kristen, do you want
Hold
to?
on a second. We got it right here.
Oh, okay.
The other part was.
We can try again.
What you said?
Can you try talking, Mike?
Can you hear me?
Oops. Okay.
Got home and dinner.
Yeah, Mike said he could hear Rich speaking, so it's a problem with our sound in here.
It's the speaker.
So do you want to?
I checked all that. Yeah, it's off.
Oh, here we go.
God damn. Oh, I'm so pissed. Okay, can you hear me now?
Rich, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys over the Zoom. The problem is with the speaker in the boardroom.
Hear you.
Unmute. Can anybody hear me? Mike, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you relay a message?
Yep.
I never said that the hazmat team was underutilized. That is a false statement by Commissioner Laring.
All right, hang on. Maybe they can hear. Hang on one second. Okay. Oh, yeah, they can hear you.
Okay, I never said that, never said anything even nearly close to that. We've not had a lot of calls this year. That's been very good for our county. That's the only thing I said.
The boardroom microphone is turned off, so I can't hear them. If you could unmute that.
Yeah, I can't unmute their boardroom.
Yeah, no, not you.
Oh,
Oh, they're working on it, apparently.
Try violation.
Okay.
If everybody.
Nobody, nothing has
Okay.
happened while they
I
haven't been able
gotcha.
to hear. We received public comment during that period. Now we're pausing until we can get reconnected. Okay,
I
Mike
can
can hear
hear
us now.
Okay, I can hear the boardroom now.
All right.
Everybody hear me?
Can Rich hear us?
Yes.
You can't hear them.
Oh, he's not on anymore.
Was that it for
Oh, he
public
is still on.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
Was that it for public?
Yeah, I think so.
That was the only hand raised.
I believe so. You don't see any other public comment? Okay, let's move on to final board comment.
Chair, I have a.
Yes, Commissioner Larry, go ahead.
So my comment wasn't that the hazmat team was underutilized. I said they weren't utilized. They have not had one call this year. Never said they were underutilized. I said they weren't utilized. So prove me wrong. For your challenge of misstatements, fellow board members, Rich Warner, have they been used this year?
Any other comments, Commissioner Pagel?
Yes.
Please.
Yes, so I requested some information from other department heads to bring forward to the next full board meeting. I'm gonna ask Mr. Warner, which he's left the call, to please provide a report of incident reports to the next committee, so as to make a better, well-informed decision on this.
What period of time?
Well, to the next meeting, the 16th,
No, how long, how far back?
the last year, which is what Commissioner Lang was in reference to.
You said this year, so I'm assuming you mean 2021, correct? Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
2021. Okay, any other final board comment? Yes, Chair Skolnick.
I have an hour-long presentation.
Why don't you go home and have dinner, my friend?
I'm bringing my lunch to the next meeting.
Call of the chair as this meeting is
No,
adjourned.
no, seriously.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
You already adjourned, see ya.
No.
Okay.
I asked about the channel crossing. This one, take it on.
He already adjourned.
No, let's press on. I assumed he was
I
joking.
had asked about the boring of the.
Correct,
underneath
yes.
The channel
Making a
and
video.
the county engineer, Steve, I met Steve Fink out there and it really, if you want to see something super interesting, take a look at that. They bored a pipe 4,200 feet under the channel and hit the right of way on the other side, 4,200 feet away from it. I essentially saw the whole operation. I'm not sure what they're doing today, but the pipe they went through with the drill head was about that big, but they go through with reamers and it'll come out a 42-inch hole through there. And then they're gonna pull 4,200 feet of HDPE pipe through it and then run the water line through that. And I mean, it was just, it's hard to believe it's even possible to do that. The company was from Wisconsin. They're living in motels. They've been here they'll be here until Matt, when are they planning on?
May.
In May.
Cool. Did you send the video out? That was a very, I don't know where that video came from that showed that process. That was an excellent video and it showed the whole process.
Yeah,
A bunch of us did on the water policy.
5-minute deal.
It's not as clean as that that video makes it look. It's a little messy, but it's really quite an accomplishment.
How are we paying?
Thank you, Chair Skolnick.
Water policy board.
That
It's
was
a grant.
The cost of that, Matt, the cost of that was about $10.5 million.
Yes, that's correct, for that phase.
Water rates. The water rates.
Okay. And is it just the county?
No, it's the water policy board. Those who belong to the water policy board.
So more than 8.
Adjourned.